do we talk here?
That's a good question. Bully?
Well, the thing's already up.
I know. Oh, he's got a mic issue. Right, fair enough. Welcome to the Elite Army channel, guys. This is Radio KAOS, Voice of the Elite Army, episode 32, Grading the Trolls, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Elite Battle Angel, the Source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I'm the host of this episode, Max Tech Durai, and with me are Eddie McTrigger from Florida.
Howdy.
Den / Last 300, also in Florida.
Hello.
We got Paulie from South England who's having a mic problem, so he may not say anything. And Odd John Hoots may be kicking around at some point. He's sort of still doing yard work. And as guests, we have Avon C Play, cosplayer and Twitter Elite advocate from Germany.
Hello.
And we've got our buddy Angela / David Birch from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome, mate.
Mush mush.
So, sorry about that. Paulie was having a mic problem, so he didn't give me my cue, so I didn't start talking. But now I'm talking. So, welcome again to a rather controversial subject this week. We are going to be talking about the somewhat troll-tastic reviews of Elite Battle Angel, so there may be a little bit of salt here. I'm expecting the salt shakers out a bit later. We'll see what happens. But first of all, we should go to the news. And what better news to start off with than Eddie McTrigger and Elite Day. Take it away, Eddie.
Yeah, Elite Day, I think we got a lot of mail off. I also think it's probably all still sitting at IDPR and they ignored me. If that's the case, we'll find out later when Rosa actually gets all her mail and reacts some. She did put up something, I guess it was in Instagram that I guess was forwarded, like of Robert Rodriguez, because he reacted. I know that. I saw something about that. And apparently Jackie Earl Haley did something. But we'll have to figure out what's going on. I think Little Bitty Dime Store Paradigm was more than happy to participate in it, but IDPR is huge and big, and they probably looked at it as unimportant. I know they knew. There's 3 of them that had to know that are in that team of hers. So we'll find out. The other possibility is she didn't really react much because she can't. I mean, if you remember last year, right after she reacted on Instagram to it and everything, she pulled the plug on her Alita stuff within 2 or 3 days. Well, Undone was starting, and I'm sure she got tapped on the shoulder in some way and told, okay, now there's no promoting anything else while you're doing this. I think they're back in filming for the 2nd season of Undone, are they not? Does anybody know? That's what I had heard. Okay. Well, it may be that possibly she can't react. But Alita Day got a lot of good action, and we'll see. I think what's going to happen is at some point she's going to get her fan mail, and I'm going to be doing some investigating too. I'm going to make a couple of calls for her agent's assistant. He gave me his number so I could call him. So I may call over into UTA and say, hey, do you think you could poke somebody in the eye with a sharp stick over there and see if they got a box or 2 full of mail for Rosa that they didn't bother to get her for the 9th? Because Robert Rodriguez was reacting, other cast members were reacting to stuff that was going on Elite Day, and I think they've just got her mail sitting there in the mail room, or something like that. I may also call into IDPR to the person I do talk to that's kind of the gatekeeper there. She's more than happy to help me because I got walked in by her agent at UTA. And I may see if she'll poke a sharp stick in somebody's eye and tell them, look, you're fucking up. Get her mail,
I've got a little bit of, while you were talking, I did a bit of a Google search on Undone Season 2. Just quickly skimmed through the article, and this little paragraph, I'll just quickly speak it. Now that Amazon has chosen to move forward with Undone Season 2, it's possible that new episodes will premiere by the end of 2020. Now, considering that we're already in September, that's only 3 months away.
Exactly.
It could at least be in post-production, if not, doing something to, like Eddie suggested, to promote Undone Season 2. So like there's a huge possibility that, and fair enough, because that's her bread and butter, at least right now anyway. So
Yeah.
That's where most of the focus, effort, and
Her attention has to be, because last year it really felt like somebody, I don't know if it got to, attorneys doing lunch together or something, but somebody said, hey, she's supposed to be promoing Undone and all she's talking about is Alita, it felt like something like that might have gone on. And so if they're filming it right now, if it's going to come out 2020, by the end of 2020, a new season, they could still be in production of some of the later episodes. She could actually be on set somewhere. So it's hard to say. We'll figure it'll sort itself out. Like I said, I'm going to do some investigating. And I think at some point she actually says something. But I'm trying to figure out why she didn't react any more than she did. Just an Instagram post of something that I guess was from Robert Rodriguez about the KAOS players, with no comments whatsoever. So like she knew it was going on, but she didn't say anything.
So I believe Jackie Earl Haley responded as well.
Yeah, he said, okay, all you little fleas, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he wrote. I didn't actually do
Awesomeness,
anything.
my little fleas.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. And I don't know what, I kind of saw what they posted a little bit. Actually, I'm not sure I actually saw what Rosa posted last year until somebody posted it on Twitter right before Elite Day, and I thought, okay, good, yeah, and I screenshot it and clipped it out and used it for my postcard. But I don't think I had seen that before. Maybe I saw it in my Facebook group back when it happened. But I just set everything up, and then everybody else tells me what happened.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the tweet now as well, and it's
I'm
just
I'm sharing it. It's
oh.
not as big as it could be. There we go. Made it a bit bigger. So this is Robert Rodriguez's tweet, retweeted by Jackie O'Leary. So we got a couple of responses.
Yeah. So she obviously knows, because in her Instagram post, one of her Instagram My Story things had a shot from that thing that Rodriguez reposted, that and it said at Rodriguez and stuff like that. So she knows, but I'm just wondering, did she get her mail and she just can't say anything, or did they not get it to her? Because unlike Paradigm, the gatekeeper's getting me to them. I've left messages for her main person and for one of her team members, and have left 2 messages and sent 2 emails to the main person's assistant. They definitely knew that this was coming, but they're not reacting to me like Paradigm did. I haven't gotten any echo back from them yet. I've talked to her agent, I've talked to his assistant, and I've talked with the gatekeeper at IDPR. I know we're in the right place because I got directed there by her agent and his assistant, and they gave me the address. The person at IDPR confirmed the address, and I looked it up on their website, and it's the address. So she's gotten her mail. Just did they get it to her? That's what I'm going to try to figure out over the next week or 2.
Fair enough. Well, I guess it'll be a delayed response if we get one.
Yeah, well, definitely that's true, because it's already delayed.
There's a comment from Mario in chat at Eddie McTrigger. Maybe someone is disinfecting the mail.
Who knows? Well, actually, COVID could play into this, because I believe when I'm getting the reception desk, she told me at one point that a lot of it's remote. Apparently her assistant isn't even in LA right now. She's in New York and is working out of New York somewhere, that she's transferring me to New York when I go to her voicemail. So COVID could be an issue. Remember, I couldn't even get through to UTA. It just went straight to a phone bank, and you had to know who you were trying to talk to in order to be able to get to anybody. the reason I was able to get into UTA is because I was looking down and I looked at the little sheet. I kept a little sheet as a souvenir last year. It's just a little Post-it note with Rosa's address, and phone number at Paradigm, because that's what I had used to call into Paradigm, and it made me think, I wonder. So I called into Paradigm, and I got people at Paradigm, and Paradigm remembered, and they got me into UTA, and they got me into IDPR. So COVID could act. I hadn't even thought about that, but that could be a reason. California's burning to the ground right now. Their power grid is rolling blackout. COVID's all over the place. They got looters every night. People are fleeing the city and getting out away from it. Yeah, that could be it too.
Yep, the place isn't trouble free, is it?
No, it's in collapse.
Well, I still have faith that the silver lining is the fact that Rosa even responded on Instagram at all, and especially linking it directly to Rodriguez's tweet. So, I mean, maybe that's like all she can manage, like to playing the.
Yeah, it feels like maybe that was all she could do that without getting a slap on the wrist, or something.
Like whether that reason is work related or not, whether it's technology or COVID related or not. Still, silver lining.
Yeah, she knew it happened. But I'm going to do some investigating and see if I can figure out a definite reason.
Definitely looking forward to the news next week. Hopefully we'll have some.
It'll probably be week after next, because actually next weekend I'm not going to be on the show. I'm going to be visiting my folks up in Jacksonville.
It could be like a monthly cycle that they pass the mail along, so it mightn't even be till the end of the month.
Well, yeah, monthly or even quarterly, or who knows, if they just do it regular. But I thought, because I was thinking, if they did it monthly, there was still a bunch of mail there by the end of August. I mean, a lot of people had already sent something, so she would have gotten a bit of it anyway at the end of August if they handled it that way.
Well, I guess we'll just hurry up and wait.
Yeah, it's a wait and see, and it's not a big deal. It went good enough. It went good enough. Rodriguez responding to it. Jackie Early Haley responding to it. Rosa at least knowing it occurred and giving some reaction. So we'll see what happens.
I think Ed Skrein himself also like retweeted something. Was it like the original post from Robert he reacted to?
Yes, he did. That's right.
Yeah.
Love to get some of those guys on here. That would be cool.
Well, that's why when I'm doing this, I'm going to be careful not to do anything to tax anybody at IDPR off, because you understand that's who would set up like a personal appearance by Rosa. Anything Rosa does goes through them. They control her brand image. And so if you want to get Rosa to meet and greet and sign autographs or anything like that, it's going to go through IDPR.
Yeah, so you're treading on. Well, I guess
I've got a toehold. I'm on the beach, okay, but I hadn't made it anywhere yet.
Just looking at some of the stuff Mario's saying in chat, sounds a lot like what we had last summer, the bad bushfires. So hope everybody who's listening from California is okay. Stay safe, guys, and keep watching Alita. The sky's all orange. Might as well stay inside, not breathe that shit in. Gotta take every opportunity, I feel.
And just for those Americans too, our summer will be your winter. So
Yep, we'll take another turn at it, I'm sure. Okay, so there's some other news posts. Some of them Alita related, some of them just very vaguely Alita related, but may have something to do with it. So this one's Paramount Pictures' Elizabeth Raposo steps down as production president. Context for this is that Emma Watts, who was in charge of 20th Century Pictures, well, they were 20th Century Fox at the time, when Alita was greenlit, is now over at Paramount. She's heading up their movie department. And this Elizabeth Raposo has been a long time executive over at Paramount, and she's leaving. So I guess maybe there's been a bit of a shake-up over there.
Yeah, well, one regime comes in, they change things around to fit themselves.
Yep, that wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that's only vaguely Alita related. I mean, there's a lot of suggestion that Alita may be glued to Disney until a time in which Disney decide to sell it off. So we may not see anything from out of Paramount for some time yet.
Well, I don't think we're going to see anything about it at all until they know what's going on in the movie theaters anyway.
My personal feeling at this point is Avatar 2 needs to come out and do, $1 billion or a couple of $1 billion, and then Disney might give Cameron's side projects a bit of funding. That's what I'm hoping. But we shall see. This is Screen Rant Originals. Neo-noir versus cyberpunk. The difference between the sci-fi subgenres explained, and Alita was used as their example of pure cyberpunk, which is nice. So she got a bit of time on that one. It's one of those click-through things, so they can give you even more ads. So I won't bother clicking through there. But never heard of neo-noir until this article came up. So have a look at that one if you're at all interested. This one's a bit of news out of Disney. Prominent Disney stakeholder calls company embrace with China wildly offensive, demands answers. So it would appear that Disney spent quite a bit of money over in China setting up a basically Disney in China, like Disney World in China kind of situation, and have been ignoring the Chinese government's actions on Muslims, which I won't go into because it's not the subject of this stream, but it doesn't sound too crash hot. And
don't get Den started on that. Don't get Den started,
no,
please.
I won't get started on that. But yeah, and Mulan is sort of very China related in its subject matter. So there are some executives over at Disney asking what the hell's going on. So we might see some shake-ups over at Disney. Of course, a big chunk of Alita's box office was made in China, so this could impact upon future releases, unfortunately. Well, we're hoping it won't, but there is that angle to it as well. Well, already done that one. Where are we? Cinema Blend. Our good mates over at Cinema Blend dropping more articles, and every opportunity they have, they include Alita. So we're very grateful to them for doing that. Dread and 8 other underrated hero movies. Alita made the list.
If you're someone who frequents the online film community, you're well familiar with the fact there's an army of
Yep, we get a mention, so well done, Alita Ryan. But yeah, Cinema Blend's big on helping us out, so that's great. That's the Robert Rodriguez tweet. Oh yes, this one was funny. There was some serious salt going on last couple of days on Twitter. IMDb, making good choices. Picked Alita: Battle Angel for their A movie, for their A to Z of fan favorite movies, and there was the Aliens crowd who got very upset about that and said some particularly derogatory things.
As an Aliens fan, that movie's had its time. Come on, it's had its time. Let Alita shine now.
Yep, that's what I reckon. But there's some people out there who can't move forward.
One commentary. There are at least 1,000 better movies that start with the letter A, and like Dan just said, no, like those movies had its time. Like sure, Titanic and Avatar, but come on, it's Alita, and I'll be grateful that they actually chose Alita. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think IMDb are sort of in our side of the court. They're on board.
They're warming up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've said before. The cart was going, and we'll be discussing this a little bit later. The cart was going definitely in the early days against the leader. There was a bit of it was almost like an avalanche of negative commentary, and it's turned around. That whole situation has reversed itself. So now there's a very positive commentary about Alita for the most part, except for a few salty bastards. And we're partly to do with that, Alita Army. So well done. I appreciate all your hard work and all your positivity. So let's try and keep.
Because
The
foot.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Didn't Vladdy mow the lawn with one of his Funko Pops on the mower?
Yeah, he did, and
Right.
I think he he made a short clip where he put one of the Funko Pops on top of his lawnmower, and then later he wanted to carry it in, and then accidentally dropped it, and yeah, and I think was it Johnny who made a pretty interesting or funny pirate version of the Blacklist Alita Funko Pop. So
much fun being had. Okay, I think that's most of the news, guys. I also, on the understanding, Pooley, that we are very quiet. If there's any sliders there that are not at the top, if you roll them up, that might help them. Alrighty, so back to the topic at hand, which is grading the trolls. Now, I'm not sure who put this topic up. No, maybe I won't mention that. But basically, what we're supposed to be doing here, my understanding of it, if anybody has a different understanding, please let me know. But we're going to go through some of the old posts and grade them on things like originality and spiciness / salt and all those sorts of things. Now, I do know that Avon's got some to hand. Do you want to share your screen, mate, while the screen sharing is set up? so that we can see the ones that you've screen capped?
Okay. Actually, I kind of like forgot about that. I was like in the middle of a chat when I was doing that, and then I kind of like skipped that while I was doing. So you guys might want to go ahead so I can backtrack those I searched earlier.
You don't have them to hand?
No, no, sadly, no. Yeah, I'm pretty much all over the place today on like the last week. So sorry.
Right here. So let's go and visit our good friend Rotten Tomatoes. I say that very tongue in cheek. Does anybody have a favorite one that they'd like to lead off with, or should I just start pulling up the random comments from?
Oh, there's so many.
Start pulling them up. And also, Ray, if you can, I would like you to DM me some of these for my next video. So as we look at them.
Alrighty, see how it goes.
It's not so much a personal favorite as it would be a personal favorite topic, but any that like quite literally bash on the VFX of Alita.
Those are so ridiculous.
That just hurts my brain because
yeah, it's like they didn't even. No, they probably did watch the movie. They just live in an alternate reality. Maybe they live in the future where VFX have gotten so much better that even Alita looks like trash. Maybe that's it. They're just literally time travelers, and to them, Alita looks bad, like an Atari system or something.
All right. So I've pulled one up here with the first line of which is utter garbage. So this should be interesting. Alrighty, so this dude who is Jim Shrimbri, I can't even pronounce his name. Jim Shrimbri. Shrimbri. Okay. Soon after the monumentally disappointing Mortal Engines comes another visually dull. Visually dull.
Okay, so I can't even say that because even that. So me and my wife were watching Vito's Alita video last night because she had never. It's very critical of the movie, by the way, and she had never seen Vito's video, and she was criticizing the fact that Iron City looks too vibrant, and he's correct about that. Iron City does look too vibrant. However, you can't call it ugly or dull. Because I was looking, I was like, yeah, it looks a little too nice to be Iron City from the manga, but it's still gorgeous. And there's a lot of slums in the background, by the way. It's, the work that was a lot of it's practical, by the way, and the CGI that is incorporated into it is incorporated perfectly. I don't know what, like I said, maybe they're from the future. So,
despite reporting 170 million budget, there is nothing visually arresting or inventive here. Oh boy. Yeah, so what did they go in and sit in the cinema with their eyes closed? Or how can they be that jaded? I mean, I've been a fan of the manga for forever, and I went into that movie and had my socks blown off. I mean, even if I didn't know nothing about it, the number of people who've come on Twitter and gone, that movie rocked, that movie was the bomb, I was amazed the entire way through. I just can't understand. It kind of feels to me like a lot of these people were put up to this.
Yeah.
That's my feeling on it. Just tell them it sucked and move on.
Well, I did watch it a few times, but it was a while ago that I can't remember the detail of it. But take Sin City, for example. Half, if not pretty much all of it, was black and white. But even the quote-unquote slums of that movie still felt more alive than what would be being narrated, and yeah, I don't know. This is one where it just I start losing speech over trying to even understand.
Yeah, so this, I wouldn't even call them a critic. This hack rated Alita 2 out of 5 and just basically tore it apart.
Well, that's what I'm rating his review, that's for sure. Actually, no, I want to rate it a 1 out of 5 because I feel like he's not even making up his own criticisms. He's almost like as if he's just jumping on the bandwagon of other people's criticisms.
There's a lot of bandwagoning that was going on at the time. So yeah, that's what I said.
How low does the scale go? I think I'm gonna go -5 because it's absolutely fucking lying to us.
Yeah, this is why Alita didn't crack 100 million in continental US. This shit, and you know these so-called critics have got a lot to answer for, because if it had cracked 100 million in continental US, we might have even seen a green light already. I mean, it's just what's the word I'm looking for? It's there's just a lot of I'll tell them whatever suits me going on in the US at the moment, especially around certain thing that's happening in your governmental situation. I won't go into it, but I'll tell them whatever suits. There's no integrity. There's no. I mean, when you review something, you certainly look at it through your own filter because you can't do anything else. But to just rag something and drag it down because that's what everyone else is doing, it's just so
lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy.
It's high school is what it is.
Yeah, well, yeah. Politics is high school. I mean, I look at our politicians and it's the same thing. But yeah, it's just sad.
But at least they have sweet accents to make them seem nicer over there.
Not even, at least to our ears. So, yeah. And he's saying that the third act is in the sequel. And Jesus Christ, I understand how movies are put together. There is a third act. Just the idiocy of these people. And he says 3D is barely noticeable. It's the best fucking 3D movie out there.
I cry myself to sleep all the time because I'd missed Alita in theaters in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dolby 3D was the most amazing movie I ever saw.
The difference is barely noticeable. Now I'm convinced he had his eyes closed the entire time. I mean, if he went and saw the movie once, how would he know what the difference is? He'd have to at least have seen it twice, and then maybe he would have blinked and noticed a few things. I got to shake my head. Jesus Christ, this guy.
I know you've probably got a lot more, but I just want to focus on that, on one of the paragraphs. As a time killer, sure, Leader has enough B-grade dazzle and action to keep you from drifting off in thoughts about your grocery list. Now, when the time I did saw Leader in 2D, I'm much like Denny in that boat, and I am a sci-fi fan more so than, you know, like drama or like historic pieces or shit like that. Sorry, stuff like that. Let's take another sci-fi movie that's quite controversial at the moment, and that's Rise of Skywalker. I'm also, like I said, a sci-fi fan. I'm a Star Wars fan, and I swear to God, my butt cheeks started to hurt because, like, I don't know, I felt like I was sitting in the movie for like 7 hours prior. I felt like I was like drifting off, like not quite closing my eyes, but like I'd go from like when I realized my attention span had turned back on again, I'm thinking, hang on, what just happened the past couple of minutes? I must have missed something. And, you know, maybe I micro slept or something with my eyes open. And I've never done that in a movie before. And this is like right up my alley. Whereas I came to a leader, I had to flip the narrative over I was actually off put to begin with, and then when I went in to saw it, I was like wide-eyed, like just so engrossed by it. So that particular statement about it, like not paying attention to the movie, again, just mind-boggling.
Well, I wouldn't be catching this guy for any reviews of any other movies, put it that way.
But yeah, like I said, 1 out of 5 for him. -5 for Denny.
I think Denny's got the right of it. Oh, look, I have to subscribe to see the whole of this one.
Yeah, that's one immediate term of lately on news sites. Whenever they come around with this, especially on reviews like those, I immediately turn away, and they keep doing that lately. So yeah.
Maybe again, that's the silver lining. It's like people can't read the whole review. It's like, well, stuff it. I'll just go see the movie for myself and make up my own review.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the thing I don't quite understand with critics. They're supposed to be like objective since they've got this like in quote critic status, but since there are no actual standards on what a critic is supposed to be, like I mean they're all just still like seeing this through their own like subjective lens and giving this their like objective like kind of tarnish, or I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to put it, but then they're coming along with their like agenda to like either they can like talk down a movie depending on what kind of ulterior motive they're after. So ultimately, what you also just said, Angelo's like the people should really just try to make up their own minds and not like try to listen to the critics. From what I understand, some people actually did and didn't see the movie and now regret it they didn't see it back in the theater. So don't listen to the critics. Screw them.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, there's a term that I don't know if it was coined by what does he call himself now? Gen X, our good buddy Gen X, but he's got a new name on his YouTube channel now. But he coined a term, sheeple, which is people who can't think for themselves. And I think there's a lot of moviegoers out there that are like that. You know, lives are busy. There's a lot of stuff coming at you, and people. Well, sheeple tend to rely on other people to tell them what to go see and what not to go see when there's so much entertainment out there and a limited amount of time. And you know, I'm sure that things like the Wall Street Journal and Washington Post and things like that, the negative reviews that came out in those did have an impact on viewership. I'm sure of it. So. It is disappointing that they went down that path. I would also say that there's God, where did that thought go? It just ran off.
Well, Gen X's new name is Space Opera X, and
That's it.
yeah, and here's my thing. I don't understand what the impetus was to get. I mean, I understand. I know for a fact that this was a little bit more coordinated than we'd like to give it credit for. I mean, I know it sounds conspiratorial, but we live in 2020, guys. So, yeah, I really do think that it was a little bit more conspiratorial than people think. There was a concerted effort, in my opinion, to sync this movie before it came out. Because, as I said, I was someone who thought the movie was going to be trash. I thought it was going to suck from the trailers, but I didn't want to sync it. I didn't go on the internet and like rail against it or anything like that. I went and gave it a fair shot and ended up liking it and then admitting that I liked it on my own YouTube channel. I mean, that's what normal people do. Normal people don't go into the movie before they even know anything about the universe and then nitpick and then look for reasons to hate it. You know what I mean? Like for me, I just don't like the movie Avatar, but you don't see me nitpicking it, like looking at this. Oh, that leaf was not rendered correctly right there. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff they're doing to Alita, you know?
Oh yes, we've gone on and on and on about the boobs thing from Washington Post. So
yeah,
we won't cross that line again. But
and I will never stop putting that in my videos. They put that crap out there, and I will always make fun of them for it from forever.
Yeah, they totally deserve that. Look, I get the feeling that because Rodriguez filmed it in Austin, not California, and the fact that he considers himself an outsider to Hollywood was part of the reason that they turned against the movie.
Yep, he didn't go through the gatekeepers. He went around and made his own area, and they would have punished him for it.
And at the time, woke culture was huge. I think it's sort of dying off now because it's just not making any money. But get woke, go broke is a thing. So
it is,
because people don't want that shit. But basically, he didn't do that in this movie, and he wasn't sailing with the prevailing winds, if you get my analogy. And they didn't like that either. I also get the feeling that Disney wanted cinema space for their upcoming movies, and so I don't know that they did it directly, but they might have just put the suggestion out there that people should rag on this movie so that it wasn't popular and would leave cinemas when they wanted the cinema space. So, I think there was some manipulation there.
Yeah. Yeah, all those it likely was not one reason. It was likely, like you're saying, a bunch of reasons put together.
Yeah. Again, the avalanche that starts with a few trickling stones and just gets a bit of momentum going. But I tell you what, there's a lot of people out there kicking themselves that didn't see it at the cinema. A whole lot of people. Quite a few in the Elite Army as well.
With this next troll piece, I'm noticing that it's coming in from the angle of those that don't know the source material. I'm curious, at the time of when people saw the movie, at least on the panel anyway, like who saw it and didn't know, or not necessarily didn't know, but didn't read the manga at the very least.
I had been reading the manga for a quarter century. I don't count in this conversation.
But
Denny, you hadn't read the manga at the time, had you?
I didn't even know it was a manga. I had no idea what Alita was. Actually, even beyond that, I didn't even read manga, period. So I was not the target audience whatsoever. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, same as with Dan. Like, I didn't know there. I mean, I could have imagined there was a manga. Like, they probably based it off like some of the adaptions they did over the years, which failed. Dragon Ball. No, but like that actually also ties into one of the critics' reviews, like. From Rotten Tomatoes, like there's not just one particular, but there are some that kind of say like the movie shouldn't come with homework assignments, that you should actually know the whole backstory of it in advance. And actually, viewing the movie triggered me to actually go into the whole backstory and actually read the manga. So, I mean, sure, there's some details it would be nice to know in advance, but I mean, just like with me, like you can later, if you're really interested in it, can explore for yourself. So Angels is holding up the manga right there.
You should be a hand model, Angels. Look, I think it comes a lot down a lot to critics not understanding their role. The word critic does not come from criticize. It comes from critique. A critique, as described in the dictionary, is a fair and leveled assessment of a subject or item, right? So when you give a critique, you are supposed to say, these are the good points and these are the bad points, and try and have a level conversation.
Okay, now do journalists, because I think critics and journalists are pretty much the same thing now. Not reporting on something, not giving you information, but trying to steer the conversation in a specific direction and manipulating things to do that. So, and that's what I'm seeing with Alita.
Well, that's why I stopped watching the news. Like, I'll check the headlines, but any type of commentary, I just switch off because they're always got some sort of angle, and I just don't want to know. But Kenneth Parko in chat makes a good comment. He says, so many of the critics are owned for left media, and Alita is not political and the far left did not like the father figure or the strong woman that had emotional attachments. Yeah, so I've been hearing comments about the left trying to destroy the nuclear family, and there was a strong theme of nuclear family in the Alita movie, with the father and mother splitting up after the child died, and the father being upset about it, and that is not how they portray things going. It's the woman who's supposed to be strong, and the men are supposed to be weak, and the nuclear family is not supposed to be a thing. So you can see that the narrative of Alita doesn't fit their ideology, so therefore they panned it. That's
I can agree with that.
that's another thing that I've been reading recently.
It's I guess the whole, because I mean, here's the thing. So adding to that a little bit, because I kind of missed the beginning of it because my wife brought me some food. But adding to that, this is one thing that I had said a long time ago on my old channel, and it was the fact that right now for some reason we have this thing to, in order to prop up women, we have to put down men.
Yeah.
And I don't see that, because my wife can be strong without me being weak. Like, I don't have to be weak. We can just be strong together. And in the Alita movie, it's not like Hugo was strong, or as certain kinds of people like to say, quote unquote, taking up space. But the fact was, Alita was propping him up, and in ways that he was weak, she was making him strong and filling in that, filling up those roles. Alita was physically strong. That's one thing she can give to Hugo that other women can't give to him. And I think it was that, because there's that stupid thing called the Bechdel test, and Alita, as a movie, fails that. I don't want to go into details about what the Bechdel test is, but just look it up. And Alita fails that. Absolutely. The fact that she was there propping up, so quote unquote, her man, wanting to go sacrifice for him in ways that other women couldn't. Because remember, Alita, there's a lot Alita can't give to Hugo that other women can. So there has to be a reason for him to choose her over him. I think that offended a lot of radical people in the media. So,
But I think that's part of the charm of Alita, the fact that she's unobtainable in that way.
100%.
I mean, there's a lot of longing and unavailability, and that sort of, well, in that relationship, I'll get what I can out of it, but it won't be the whole thing. And it's sort of a bittersweet sort of feeling that runs through the whole thing. You feel sorry for Alita that she can't, do the whole woman thing.
Absolutely. That's part of the story, but they don't want that, because they look for agenda over a narrative. And this is something that made the narrative better, but it doesn't fit their agenda. So they just don't care about the narrative. They'll throw it out, call it trash, and then say, okay, this movie is bad, and look for reasons why the movie is bad, when actually it's a very good and just a heartwarming story. Well, heartwarming and heart-crushing at the same time. So,
and of course, it involves cyberpunk, which is exploring what it means to be human, which is something we all relate to.
Exactly.
Just on that tangent, and not necessarily, and I'll sort of swing it back to the main topic. If you were to replace Alita's cyborg body, like unable to bear children, for example, with her cyborg body, and replace it with a woman that's like, I don't know, that's had ovarian cancer and had to have them removed, otherwise, she would have passed away. And then it's like, well, she can't have kids, and like, what can I give to my partner or potential partner, whatever they may be, and that's exactly what you see in Alita and the relationship between her and Hugo. And then when I see, even in this review here, where it says like there's no emotional attachment, or it's like an emotional hot mess or some garbage like that, it's like, what? I mean, it's just the complete opposite of what they're saying.
Yeah, I'd have to say, to summarize, Alita suffered from a lot of agenda politics on top of everything else.
And again, you can even, like, just quickly reading through that particular one, it's like it's like, yeah, all right, this part is good, this part is good, And if I strip that away, then this is what's left. So I'll just rag on that part, which is people not knowing the source material. And
I used to watch a lot of Gen X. This is related to what you're saying, but I used to watch a lot of Gen X, and he had one particular video that he put up, which I had to chuckle about. Was in the one video he showed a review of a leader saying, "Oh, the narrative was too complicated and people couldn't follow it." And then he put one up next to it where another so-called critic was saying, "Oh, Leader was too simple. They needed to spice it up a bit and make it more complicated." It's like, hang on a second. They're arguing both sides of the coin. You can't have both sides of a coin toss. Make up your goddamn mind. So that just tells me that it was engineered. You can't have two so-called expert critics arguing the opposite thing to put down a movie. It makes no sense.
All right. I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5, mainly because
Generous.
Well, I gave the last one 1. And because, I mean, he got some parts of it right about it being, like, visually attractive and all that other jazz. But then, like, right away you could see where it was even leading to before he said it. Where
look at this crap. Ouch. Sigh, double sigh, triple sigh. It's like, what are you?
Yeah, he's definitely looking for something to rag on, and he's obviously found it. So, yeah, 2 out of 5, and yes, I am being generous.
Alita Battle Angel isn't a disaster. Cameron doesn't make disasters. Has this guy had? No, this came out.
Titanic?
This came out before the most recent Terminator movie. So yeah.
I mean, Titanic was a disaster. Well, based on a disaster.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you could twist it in that direction too.
Bad pun is bad. I'll shut up now.
And this one says the film is most likely best seen in 3D, which is the opposite of the last guy. So, you know, they're all over the shop. Do you have a rating for this one, Den? You seem to be very keen on the rating system.
No, I had nothing else to add.
Yeah, but do you have an overall rating for this review?
Oh, a rating.
Yeah.
Are
you going up from
-1. It's a little better, but it's still absolute garbage.
There you go. The independent critic. Yes.
Oh, are we getting into the independent? Because
yeah.
Is Vladdy anywhere around here?
I don't know.
He's in chat. Oh, at least I saw him in chat a while back.
No, he doesn't appear to be in chat right now, so fire away.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about like me and Vladdy have a bone to pick with someone at the independent. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is go find some kind of currency conversion place around here so I can convert some dollars to euros and send it Vladdy's way. Maybe he can maybe David can go up to the UK, train Vladdy so he can fight Adam White for us. I think that's a good idea.
Are you still on the get Adam White thing?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I told you. I'm going to make fun of you for the rest of your life. And that's just it. I mean, that's all I could do. I have no other power except to make you look like a clown in front of a small group of people.
He's sort of.
Is it fair that I'm using an English translation of a Spanish review here?
What was that?
I just translated this, so it may not make sense.
Oh.
Okay, there's actually like one top critic review from Rotten Tomatoes, which says her sunny disposition is refreshingly unusual in this type of sci-fi, but her lackadaisical, I'm not quite sure what that word is.
Lackadaisical.
Okay, I can't speak words. But her lackadaisical attitude towards her past life does sap the narrative of its urgency. If she doesn't care who she used to be, then why should we? And that makes me question, did she even watch it, or did that person even watch the full movie? Because at the end of the movie, we clearly see that she does care who she used to be. She actively wants to find out who she used to be. So I don't know what that person is ragging on about. So
even mid-movie, she defies Edo by signing up as a hunter warrior.
Like, but wanted to go down on her own path, trying to find a past, going with spoiler, going with Hugo to the Erm ship, or like going with him and wanting to possess, like, get into that body to find out more about the past. So yeah, that person clearly didn't watch like maybe 1/3, maybe even 1/4 of the movie, or maybe even none at all. So what gives?
Well, that was actually quoted about the whole experience with Alita and the Academy Awards. The old farts at the Academy didn't even sit there and watch the movie. They had an idea that it was an animated movie, not even, like a real life movie with a CGI character. They couldn't even get their heads around that. They just weren't equipped to actually review the movie because it was too far ahead of what they could understand. And they walked out, partway through the viewing. So they didn't even watch the whole thing. That was quoted. And yet everybody says, oh, the Academy, they know everything about movies. Bullshit. Utter bullshit. That is why the Academy Award is now a circle jerk as far as I'm concerned, of old men, and I want nothing to do with it. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on in Hollywood at the moment, unfortunately.
Let's not talk about the recent criteria either. Oh wait, that's the Oscars. Never mind.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, that one.
That was annoying.
No.
It's about a year late.
It's funny because if they did apply that, well, let's just say Alita could have readily won some awards, but anyway.
Yeah, but that's just box ticking.
Don't worry, we'll get back to them with the sequel. So.
Oh.
Well, the important thing is that the Alita won some awards from the VFX industry people, so they obviously understood it because they're part of that industry. They're part of the industry, but the actual so-called experts weren't, as it were. So this one's translated, so it may not read quite correctly in English. I am infinitely bored by the plot of the robotic and somewhat naive girl who breaks free from patriarchal ties and fights hostile forces unleashed by the sense of powers residing in the skies of wealth.
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, anyway, it takes all types. Moving on. So what else have we got here? And these are just the front page ones, which are the ones I pulled for the poster. Have you found your reviews there, Avon?
Well, yes, sort of, but I already quoted like one of the 3 I had there, so I think another one.
We'll throw it up so everybody else can discuss it. I'll stop screen sharing and you can.
Okay. How do I do screen sharing? I've never done this before.
Okay, so you know your little window.
I
think it's a three button thing. You click on it and go screen share. You don't have to share whole screen. You can just share the app that they're in, be it like an image viewer or the web page.
Oh no! Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just do this like full screen. Okay, let's like. This is like visible, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like one of the things I got. This is actually from IMDb. So like this movie is nowhere near Terminator 1 and 2 and Avatar and
Can you zoom in a bit? It's kind of tiny.
Oh wait. Hang on.
Excellent, thank you.
Let's make it really big. So I'm not quite sure where that person is. Like in the last sentence is filled with the most boring and annoying cliches. Okay, I mean you could probably say the love interest was. I mean maybe just in the far off land you could say like the love interest seemed a bit rushed, but that was only because like the movie had to like cover like some like the things in that short amount of time, but I don't get it.
Yeah, I'd have to say some of the time skips weren't immediately
Yeah.
apparent. With that the very last time skip in the movie was really well handled. If they'd done a few of the other time skips, spent 10, 15 seconds just showing the time skip, like between Alita agreeing to train to try out for motorball and it actually happening, which was several weeks between when she said she'd do it and when she actually did it. That would have really helped with some sort of time scaling. But yeah, I got nothing. Anybody else?
Yeah, like
Well-
you said, I think the last scene you mentioned was the one between her actual appearance in the Pro League, where the sun went up down. That was like really good to like give a sense of how much time approximately passed, but a bit of like more maybe a few flashbacks to cover that other part would have been nice. But I can understand why they had to like maybe cut something to press it in that time frame. So
They should have done a training montage. Everybody loves a good training montage.
yeah. I'm
You
sorry,
want to say
Angelos.
something, Dan?
Oh no, I was going to say, leading back to the first little part that you said about it not being anywhere near Terminator 1 and 2 or even Avatar. I mean, we all know that like the mocap technology that they used is at the forefront, and then now it's being used in Avatar 2 and 3, and no doubt any advances made during that production can be used for their further sequels and the later sequel as well. And it's like, how can you say it's nowhere near as good as Terminator 1 or 2? Or at least even 2, because 1 was, well, felt more puppetronic than anything. But
Yeah, very much practical effects in Terminator 1.
But yeah, and it's just, I mean, like even the cliche part of the end of the part where they talk about the cliches, even that doesn't bug me as much as that first sentence.
I guess is not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I did, of course, like go to like in terms of reviews to the bottom of the barrel with like 1 star. I probably could have like taken like 2 stars or 3 stars. I think that's, like I said, this one's from IMDb. But scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Well,
the bottom of the barrel is where you find the really spicy stuff, because the spice is at the bottom.
The most entertaining ones.
Yeah. Keep in mind, guys, that this is well in the past. So while we're discussing and dissecting these things, we're not overly salty about it anymore. I mean, there's a lot of "Are you seriously kidding?" like the last line of this one, but flipped on its head. So it's us saying it to them. But a lot of this, we've gone through the whys and wherefores.
I mean, that's like one of the reasons why, since it's all like far in the past, I like cropped out some things like the review hits, because I didn't want to be as bad as they and shame them and in return, so I cropped those out. So just a bare review. So I think there's another one. Okay, Dan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, I thought you might have like a commentary. So.
Well, funny you gave it 1 out of 10 stars, because I'm giving that a 1 star review.
Sounds fair.
Let's be honest, most of these are trash.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said earlier, like some of the reviews is like you get the impression that people didn't like really fully watch the movie, or like only saw like one part of it and then like purposely looked away because they didn't want to, and then the whole thing about critiquing a movie kind of falls apart. So It's in some of these reviews, it's just about shaming, not to be like, actually critical, like you said earlier, Max Tech, where you try to be objective and, bring forth like positives and negatives all equally. So try to be, fair in a review. So some of them don't even bother to do that.
Well, that was one thing that came up in conversation about this at the time. There are so many different genres of movie, and not everybody likes or even gets all the genres. Now, if somebody asked me to review a romance movie, I would probably say I don't think that's a good idea because I don't know enough about the genre. I will be reviewing it out of context and not giving a fair appraisal. That's what I would say. But these guys, obviously, they have no qualms about going to see anything, not getting it, and then spouting some garbage, which will then, the sheeple will listen to. A perfect example. At the time that Alita came out, I'd seen it like 3 times by this stage, and I was talking to my sister on the phone who lives in a little country town in the middle of country Australia. And I said to her, "Hey sis, have you gone and seen this movie yet? It's fantastic." And she said, "Oh no, I read the review in the local paper and they didn't like it, so I'm not going to go see it." I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Whoops.
I actually said that on the phone. For fuck's sake, you will listen to some dickhead in the local paper who knows nothing about cyberpunk and sci-fi over somebody who does. Like, hello, just because they're written up in a paper doesn't mean they actually know what they're talking about. But the sheeple will listen to that. And unfortunately, my sister was a sheeple at that point. So
oh, well.
that's the way it is. This did have an effect. This did pull people out of seats at the cinema, which is a sad, sad thing.
What about you, Dan? What do you give that troll review?
Can I actually unshare this now? Do I have to go back into the...
Do you have another one?
Wait, I'm not quite sure if I can actually... Oh yeah, well, I think that's a different one. Yeah. I mean, it's still just like 1 star, but so I mean, this one is so overhyped. Okay, I'm not quite sure where it's getting that. Like, there was like no real advertisement in my opinion, sadly. So yeah, that's this.
How do you grow skeptical of an actor? How does that even a thing? I mean, he doesn't believe in Christoph Waltz anymore. Like the guy isn't real. Is that what he's saying? He's skeptical? I think he's misusing the word.
For me, the whole review is like make me want me to ram my head against the titanium wall. But the one thing that like really stuck out for me is when they were ragging on the acting itself. It's mocap, well, exactly that, motion capture performances. I mean, like, yes, it's CGI, but and if you even knew that it was a motion capture like Gollum and etc., then you know that it's going to be nothing but acting. And unless they completely the actors themselves, unless they completely lost the plot, and you could even see through that, which, I mean, trying to be as objective as possible, it just didn't happen.
Well, and the ones that talked about bad acting, it's kind of funny. You've got 5 Academy Awards in that cast, okay? I mean, Waltz has a pair, Ali has a pair, Connolly's got one. And you got people like Jackie Earle Haley in there, and even the small characters are played like Rick Yoon and who's the dude doing McTeague again? His name's escaping me at the moment, but Fahey, Jeff Fahey. It's just all over that cast. There's nothing but great actors.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of suggestions by critics that the script and what the actors are given to work with affects how good a performance they can give. Like if the script's flat and they've got no good lines to work with, nothing to emote with in the script, then that can pull down their delivery. And there's always the phoning it in comments about some actors who just don't seem to be into the part. But there was none of that in this movie. Christoph was just brilliant. The whole father figure thing was great. Everybody knows that Rosa just smashed it. Mahershala, yeah, he could have used some more lines, certainly. But the ones he delivered, I mean, how many actors have you seen portraying a person who's being controlled by another person who's
True
dying,
characters.
and the person who's controlling him doesn't give a shit? It's like,
And
that looks fatal.
transition from one to the other, back to the original again.
Jesus Christ, it was brilliant. I'm looking at the guy going,
That was definitely a criticism that Vito had that I definitely disagreed with. The fact that it looks fatal line was used as an example that, he just wasn't giving a shit. And I'm like, I don't know. That was meant to sound sarcastic because it's not his body. I don't know how that was missed by so many people.
That
I
actually
just
makes
don't
me.
think they understood it.
Oh, sorry.
What would you say, Max?
I just said I don't think they understood it.
Yeah. What were we gonna say, Avon?
That actually makes me wonder because, for goodness sake, I forgot the name of the actor of Nova. I'm sorry.
Edward
Yeah, Edward Norton. I'm actually curious to know if Edward Norton was on set and actually enacted that scene where he sort of gave Mahershala Ali like a print on how he would act the scene, like possessing him, so Mahershala Ali would actually know how to, or if he did just like how he felt Nova would act, or so.
If
That
they
would be
did that,
interesting.
that takes the acting to a whole new, higher level again. That I'm straight up giving it a 0 out of 5 for that thinking alone. I'm sorry, that just. Oh.
I mean, you got some of these are these professional ones or are these just randos?
I think I just picked them at random, so I think there's no actual critic score system like with top critics on IMDb. I just picked them at random, so.
Oh, that's fair enough. So where these people aren't part of the critiquing industry, as it were, they're not tied into the bandwagon of what Disney wants and things like that. But these people may have psychological issues. The ones that are spouting this bullshit, they also may have things going on in their life that have really coloured their opinions of pretty much anything. We're taking one isolated commentary, and if you look across, they may review everything as shit because their life is shit. That's what I'm trying to say. So if they're not part of the professional critiquing industry, I would see that there could be, some personal coloration in there, like serious, darker tones, as it were.
But again, to play devil's advocate, I love doing that. On the flip side, even you yourself mentioned that the definition of the critic or reviewer or whatever was someone objectively assessing the movie, and if they can't, I mean, I hope they get the help that they need, and I don't mean to make that sound derogatory. But if they can't objectively review the movie, then what the hell are they doing reviewing it in the first place?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The difference between a critique and a criticism.
Yeah.
That's a very important point.
Oh well. How do I actually unshare my screen now? Do I get back into?
Is there a way to bring up those 3 dots? Or
I think it should be done now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're back here.
I've got, while you were doing that, I've cranked out a few more here. Now, where's my screen share gone? That one and that one, share. Alrighty, so here's some more for us to have some fun with.
Oh, couldn't you at least center out that with films such as that?
Sorry, what am I centering out?
No, I'm saying you should center out with films such as the.
Yes. They've started out ragging on the movie because it's an adaptation. Yes, that's pretty slack. Really? Not treating it as its own thing and dragging it into other movies with similar sources but other issues. Put it that way.
In fact, maybe that's something that even Den could give a 2 cents in. Because,
Well, when they're going on about whitewashing in Western cinema in the first paragraph, you know that they just didn't watch the movie. I mean, hello.
yeah, okay. I'm already not going to give this review any higher than a 1, but yeah, lower can go.
This person thinks their shit don't stink. Just looking at the way they're writing it. Cameron started working on a little film called Avatar.
How much did it make?
Uh-huh. Everybody's having a bit of a read.
Yeah.
Essentially, skimming through it. Well, there's even a
This
promo
person
there.
seems to know the anime. In the last paragraph there.
On one side, there's the jaded Ito who keeps her past a secret. Say what?
Okay, the person doesn't quite get the gender, but that's okay. That happens.
I'll attribute that to a typo.
Yeah. Probably rushing this out. Back when all this was happening, there was some industry buzz that to stay on Disney's preferred critics list and get early access to things, one had to, as it were, toe the party line. So there was one well-known case of a YouTube movie critic who lost his shit and told everybody about what Disney were doing, as far as you will review movies the way we want them reviewed, or you won't get to see them ahead of the general populace. And he went on a rant about that. So there's another thing to consider in the mix. But I can't help the thinking that a lot of these reviewers must be pretty jaded if what they do as a job is watch movies, and they do. When I watch a movie, I watch it for entertainment, but they're watching it as a job, right? So they may come at these things a little bit different from us, but that does not explain some of the bullshit that we've seen during this stream. It might, angle things a little differently, change perspective, but it just does not explain some of the crap that we've been examining here.
Going back to your the difference between a critic and an audience review,
Yeah.
call it that. I mean, again, clearly they were rushing it. Clearly they're sort of recycling stuff that other people have said, or maybe they're one of the ones that started it. Who knows? But I mean, here, it's they say the visuals is good, etc., and then they sort of back that up momentarily, but they call the dialogue dull and uninspiring.
There's a line here. This isn't helped by the wasted supporting cast of Jennifer Connelly, that's
Yeah.
good. Pulley! Oh man, that was such a good point too.
Right,
Seems to be
apparently,
better again. Okay.
Alida Law says we can be heard. What did you
Yay.
hear up to, Alida Law? I gotta wait 30 seconds for him to actually hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think this
Anyway,
time around is pretty quick. Yeah. So.
I'll just re-summarize that. So this line here says, "This isn't helped by wasted support cast as Jennifer Connelly, Mahershala Ali, and Ed Skeirin don't do much but be sinister antagonists." So my point was the story is written to tell the story. It's not written to pander to the actors. If you've got good actors as support cast, you're very lucky. And sure, they don't get to stretch their acting chops as far as they would if they were a central character, but they do really, make those supporting characters stronger, which then makes the overall narrative stronger, and that's important. You wouldn't rewrite the script of the movie just to support a side character. You wouldn't tell it from the position of Sheeran or Vector. Admittedly, Ed Skeirin's character, we could be seeing a lot of him in the sequel, so that could be very very insightful, and we'll find out more about that character if they go down that path. But to tell Alida's origin story, you focus on Alida. That's what you do. So they really need to understand that you're not going to rewrite the script to suit a big name in a supporting role. If they're a supporting character, that's what they play. You don't always get to be front and center. There have been a lot of times in Hollywood where an A-list actor has walked in to a movie. I was watching something on YouTube about one the other day.
Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando.
No, it was Sylvester Stallone actually.
Oh, he can be pretty bad.
Yeah, he was cast as the lead, and basically he wanted the script rewritten. It was, what was it? It wasn't Dread, because he was in Dread. He was in another Dread. Beverly Hills Cop. That's what it was. Yes. So Sylvester Stallone was actually cast as Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop, and he basically wanted it rewritten so it was a serious movie. And they actually started rewriting it, and then he pulled out, and they went back to the comedy when they got a comedian to play the lead role. And it was the highest. It's the third highest grossing R-rated movie ever, apparently. And it was the highest grossing movie of 1984. So yeah, it's not always good to pander to A-list actors. They don't necessarily know what they're doing when it comes to scripts. They might know how to act, but they're not script writers. So there you go, little bit of an aside. So
well, were you saying something there, Avon, as well, following on from Maxie?
No, I was saying that movie was Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Beverly Hills Cop, wasn't it?
no, that was
Gary Busey.
that was around the same time, but it was a more serious take.
Eddie Murphy was.
Yeah, and as to the comment about the supporting actor thing, they sound like they wanted an ensemble cast kind of movie with a lot of balance and stuff like that. This movie has a totally dominant primary character in Alita. Everybody else's role there is really just to serve her. Waltz is the only one that has any noticeably larger role than that, to me. All the rest of them are meant to just be helping the character of Alita be shaped.
Yep, I'd go with that. But any sort of origin story movie that you see has to focus on the main character because it's their origin. I mean, you can't ensemble cast an origin story.
Exactly.
It just does not work. So it's a little bit hard for me to believe that they could consider that as a good idea.
I think I'm going to drop this one down to a 0 because that final paragraph where it talks about stretching the anime to stay faithful to the original anime, whereas the anime OVA itself was based off the manga. So,
yeah. And this is a
while you guys are reading this, I've got a bit of a question myself. Whenever they refer to Rosa Salazar, they seem to quite often attribute her to Bird Box, which I'm assuming might have been her most recent, well, prior to Alita, her most recent biggest role, if you will. I mean, isn't Alita considered her breakout role, into the A list, if you want to call it that?
It's a bit nebulous, I think. It's a bit hard to say. I mean, it's a title role, which is something that she hadn't had a lot of to that point. And it's probably the biggest budget movie she'd starred in. So there's that.
No, okay.
I mean, certainly Rodriguez's biggest budget movie and his biggest successful take movie, the most been made off a movie that he's directed. So that's something for his a feather in his cap.
That's one thing that I said in one of my, I think probably my fourth video about Alita, was the fact that I kept getting comments of people saying, "Oh, but the movie failed. The movie didn't make any money." But this is Robert Rodriguez's highest grossing film, not just by the raw amount of money it made, but by the ratio of money spent. Well, as far as we know, money spent versus money earned. And I know it didn't do as great domestically, but still, the guy's made many, many, many sequels to much worse movies. Let's be honest here. I mean, Spy Kids I didn't even like that when I was a child. So, and then he like Dust Till Dawn. I mean, he didn't just, I think there is a Dust Till Dawn too, but didn't he go on to make like a TV series for it? I mean,
Yeah, there was
the guy,
made.
yeah. And the guy, he's, this is like his most successful project basically. And he's known for making sequels and continuations of his stories. So why would this be any different? I'm pretty sure that if he was given the green light, he's completely on board. I think he's probably, if anything, he's already made plans to continue on. He's just being held back.
Oh, you get various commentary from various sources. I don't know if all of it's believable, but I'm certainly of the opinion from what I've seen that everybody who worked, well, all the main people who worked on the movie really enjoyed it. Most of them have stated publicly they'd like to come back and continue the series. And there's a DVD extra that came out in Australia that I don't think was in a lot of the other releases, where there's 20 minutes of Cameron and Rodriguez sitting there. It's undirected, so there's no interviewer. And the two of them are just bromancing.
Is that the one with the steelbook?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I saw that.
The JB Hi-Fi steelbook. The extra disc that isn't in a lot of the other releases worldwide. And these two guys are just bromancing each other. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like a buddy movie. They really, and it doesn't look forced. It looks totally natural. These two guys love working together, and they enjoyed making this movie. They really enjoyed it, and they would like to make more. That's the feeling I got from it. Left you with a sort of a warm feeling, didn't it, Angelus?
Yeah, and like it didn't feel like they were propping up one or the other. Like when they said, "Oh, you know," when Rodriguez talked about Avatar, and then when Cameron would say, "Oh, yeah," when I was too busy making Avatar, but I still wanted something to happen with the leader. So I thought of my good buddy Robbie over here and stuff like that, and that to and fro, that, like you said, felt natural. It didn't feel scripted. It didn't feel forced or coerced. And then when they went into the why and the details of it, it's like, well, shit, there's something about what they're saying here. And
I think they loved it as much as we did, really. I mean, if I was involved in the making of Alita, I would be proud. I wouldn't give a crap what any of these dickheads said.
so,
Here's a quote. While the visuals are top notch, the story is a hodgepodge of science fiction tropes thrown together, promising a big story for the sequels, but not giving us much reason to care right now. Yeah, okay, you didn't understand it.
on the flip side, I was going to give that a 2. It's back down to a 1.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's I think a lot of this is a critic who goes to see a movie, and again, it's the whole. If you're not a cyberpunk aficionado, you should not be reviewing it because you do not understand it. You don't understand the story it's trying to tell. You don't understand the subtext. You don't understand the themes, and you just don't fucking get it. And if you don't get it, you should not be reviewing it for other people because you are not the expert you claim to be. You might be good with other types of movie, but not this one. And it's like I said, I wouldn't review a romance movie because I don't know the first thing about how they're supposed to be put together. But I know cyberpunk, so I could review a cyberpunk movie and actually tell you how it stacks up against other cyberpunk movies, not romances. All right, so you got to work within your bounds, is what I'm saying. And these guys don't. They try and make out that they know everything about everything, and they just don't get it. And that's
Just like the phrase "I don't know" has disappeared from public debate on Twitter, the phrase "not my cup of tea" has disappeared from reviews. I mean, maybe it's not your thing, but maybe try to review it through the eyes of someone who would like that. I do it all the time. I watch a romantic comedy or something, and I say it's not really my cup of tea, but it looked funny enough, looked competent enough. So maybe if you like that, you might like this movie.
Just you don't. So.
Yeah, I do it with anime all the time. It's like, okay, Naruto, you know what I mean? I don't like Naruto, but I see parts from like, okay, that's cool. If I was a Naruto fan, I think that's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, you got to review these things for a wider audience and say, if you liked this movie, or this movie, then this is for you. That is a critique, not a criticism. It's going back to that again. But hodgepodge of science fiction tropes thrown together. How do you actually make a science fiction movie without using some of the tropes? I mean, really, you can't. It wouldn't be science fiction if it wasn't even vaguely tropey. It would be something else. Makes no sense.
Well, let's we can make it even just the last part of this particular review, but like what's the first trope that comes into mind? Because I'm putting myself in in the seat of an Alita Army fan here and thinking that this movie is like the next gift from God, which is, as far as I'm concerned, it is. But what would be the first trope that would come to your mind that they might even remotely be referring to?
I'm not entirely sure. That's the problem. I can't. I mean, they make these vague generalizations to cover for the fact that they don't know what they're talking about. That's basically what.
Actually, yeah. I get the feeling that's pretty much at least the thing of that review, if not several of them. Anyway, like I said, that's got a 1 from me.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, now I've thrown this one in because we need a little bit of balance, all right? Just like these reviewers who are unbalanced, we don't want to be super unbalanced. We don't want to drag the Elite Army down with this stream. So this is a positive review. Oh my God, yes, they do exist. So yeah, I think this guy epitomizes what I'm talking about. He gets the genre. He understands how a movie is put together. He understands that, yes, there will be tropes because there has to be, or else it doesn't fit the actual genre. Wow. Somebody who understands it. It's great. So this guy actually reviews the movie for cyberpunk aficionados. So there you go.
As someone who's read the manga and watched an OVA.
Yep. And understands the concepts. Sorry for all the ads, guys. I can't really get rid of them. I'm even running a VPN and it's not getting rid of them. So unfortunately, I'm stuck on them. Alita really shines. Yes, she does.
Thanks to the scope of the film, watching these battles play out is a dream come true for fans. So even that sentence shows that, like, whether he's a fan himself or whether he's not is almost irrelevant. The fact that he's like objectively reviewing it.
And that's exactly it. It adds to what Den was saying before about not my cup of tea and I don't know. It's good for fans. It's not necessarily good for me. I'm reviewing this for you guys. I'm not telling you how it is for me and thinking that what I think is what everyone should think. And that's a huge problem with not just critics, but people in general these days. They've been taught to think that they're the center of the universe, that everybody gets a participation trophy because nobody can lose, and that generates a feeling of I'm the center of the universe. And when you believe you're the center of the universe, when you engage with others, when they don't see things the way you see them, and I must admit we're somewhat in an echo chamber here as the Elite Army. We all love Alita. The people who don't like Alita don't come and join us here. So there's a little bit of that, but people have to be able to look at things roughly from other people's perspectives. If they can't critique for others. They just can't do it. It's just not functional. And that's pretty much the whole critiquing industry at the moment is centered on the self. And that's why it doesn't work. Just my 2 cents.
Even though at the beginning he said that he know or even read the manga and seen the OVA, he literally describes like the manga and anime are very bloody, and despite Alita Battle Angel having a PG-13 rating, and then he goes on to the rest of that. I mean, again, like I said, it's speaking from his experience, but still with that objectivity as well.
Yep. So this guy I would call a critic, not just because I agree with him, but because he puts the commentary of the movie outside himself. He's critiquing for others, and he's actually doing his job. So he gives it 4.5 out of 5, which is 9 out of 10, which I'm completely agreeable with.
That's how I'm going to rate his review: 4.5 out of 5.
Sounds fair.
Same here, because I can understand his critique of Sheeran, and to a lesser degree Vector, because I still he acknowledges the acting starters. I personally like Vector's and Mahershala's.
But the movie needed at least another half an hour. We all agree on that. Maybe a whole another hour to really flesh out these side characters. Given the time limitations that it had, I think they did a reasonable job. Sure, I would have liked to have seen a bit more Sheeran, a bit more Vector, but read the novels that are attached to the movie to get more of that. You get to understand the characters more. And we've had a whole stream on the movie novels from Pat Cadigan, so check back on that one if you haven't seen it. It was a very good stream. But yes, he says that the weakest elements of the film, there's always going to be weak elements. He's not saying the film is shit because, he's saying, yeah, there's some things that could have been better. If there was more time, they would have been. Which
He's
is
acknowledging both sides.
fair call, completely fair call. So there you go. That's a decent reviewer. And not just because I agree with him, but because of the way he puts the review outside of himself. So that's a take home, I think.
Like Vladdy's comment, Sheeran gets about 3 times better on the second viewing. Why is she looking at Lita like that the first time they meet? And that makes her redemption that much more powerful. And even for me anyway, that sort of just clicked because, like, you know, I did notice that now that I'm paying attention to it, and you know, mind blowing.
I must admit, I think I picked that up on the first viewing, the way she was staring at the body and looking at the arms and stuff, like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. I think I cottoned onto that very early, that she's like, oh fuck, this is my daughter's body. Why is this other person wearing it? What the fuck has my ex been up to? That was fairly obvious to me because, you know, as a writer, I understand the dynamics of those sorts of reactions. But yeah, I guess other people probably didn't notice it straight up.
Again, like, I was one of the ones that on the very first viewing, I was just sort of wow.
You were stunned mulleted and
Pretty much, yeah.
picking up on all the details, yeah. Why else would Christoph Waltz, Mahershala Ali, and Jennifer Connelly be in a film that looked this bad? See, that kind of epitomizes good reviewers versus this other crap lot, in that they pass personal opinion off as fact.
I mean,
Let's not take it out of context, though, because, yeah, just quickly, don't take it too far out of context, because they do mention in the review where, but then the trailer was shown for basically every other film that existed, and I start to wonder, maybe this film was something special after all. Why else would they have so forth in a movie that looked this bad?
Yeah, I was focusing on one section.
Yeah, and then this film might look like a sci-fi film, but there had to be something I was missing. If stars of that kind of were willing to be featured, where to begin.
I mean, when you talking crap, the language you use within a review is also important.
Yeah, I was just
saying the word crap.
I was just gonna mention, like, there's like a bottom line of kind of like a language you have to use to, you know, to make yourself like appear like you actually have like there's validation to your critic. But if you retort to like this kind of language that already invalidates anything you're going to say, like, so.
Yeah, was that same with the guy with the sigh, double sigh, triple sigh? I mean, what the hell is, you know, he's trying to be current and hip and completely failing at his task.
I despise people who speak like that, especially on the internet, because it's like you've not gotten a point across. You've just gotten an emotion across, and we're trying to get points across so we can, you know, if you ever critique about something, maybe make it better instead of, you know, just shitting on the entire conversation, the entire forum. That's how I feel like that those kind of comments are.
When they resort to that, that's like when you're having a heated conversation on Twitter, and your points are so much better than the other person's that they resort to calling you names. That's the same sort of feeling.
Yeah.
That they haven't got anything logical to say, so they go into the emotional realm.
Oh, I was going to give this a 3. It's now sitting at a 2. I mean, I get the feeling that like they're trying to be objective, but like you say, they don't know anything about the genre or the source material or both. But they're not actively trying to rag on something or try to find something to rag on. They're just saying what they don't like about it. And that's pretty much what knocked it down from a 3 to a 2 for me.
Sorry about that. I was just being informed about cats and their inability to use cat litter properly. The Jews. Okay. So does anybody have any more comments about this one or would like to rate it? I'm just scrolling through more of it at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard 2. Wouldn't go any higher than that.
So apparently Mahershala Ali was the only person in this film who nails his performance. And then they pass off a personal comment about he's not going to be proud of the claim. It's just, you're not an actor, dude. You're not even really a critic.
I have a question about the stream in itself. When or if are we going to get to the critiques, reviews, tweets attacking Rose's appearance, talking about her mouth and stuff like that in the film?
Well, they touched upon it here about the eyes.
Can someone dig those up? I don't know where they are.
Not even just the eyes. So the eyes is something. I guess you can call that a valid critique. If you don't like the eyes, you don't like the eyes. It was a creative choice. But there were ones that were attacking like her mouth, like the way her smile is, and they don't realize that that's not CG. That's her mouth. That's how she looks. And I liked it personally. That looked pretty nice. But I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of ridiculous to attack the actress for how she looks, and that was not just with the breast or the eyes, but the parts of Alita's face that were roses. There was a couple of them, if I remember correctly, from 2019 that attacked those aspects of the character.
If you can dig up the links and dump them in the Hangout chat, I'll pull them up. But I can't go searching while I'm streaming.
I got you.
But so I can't.
Star of Elion might be able to find those. If I remember correctly, he was not very happy about those.
Yeah, he's not on the stream though, so that's a little bit different. So this last line, oh my God, if you're a fan of the manga, you might like the film. Honestly, I have no clue. So he's admitted he's gormless. But if you're hoping for a thrilling adventure, save your money and stay home. Alita won't be providing anything but puppy slaughter. And no movie ticket is worth that cost. I'm speechless.
Let's get him to watch the anime. let's Clockwork Orange him and force his eyeballs open to just watch that scene in the anime on repeat, so then he can watch the movie and see how much more tastefully it was handled.
I mean, the whole movie, like 2 hours and 5 minutes, with a fantastic score, amazing visuals, terrific acting. Sure, he might have a problem here and there with the story because it's an old story and it's the first time it's come to the big screen, so it may look compared to other movies, it may look a little bit of a retread. But my personal take is that it was well put together. But from all of that to focus on something that happened off screen as your main takeaway.
Bloody only has screenshots.
Max is somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm sorry. This gets a -10 for me, right? I could go even lower if you like.
I'm going to change my mind again. I'm giving it a 1 because not only, like Den said, the OVA was far worse, but let's even go to another puppy slaughter movie in John Wick. Even in that,
Yes, and everyone loved John Wick, including me. Yeah, I didn't hear. Well, I didn't really. There wasn't that many like unfair reviews of John Wick, but I didn't really hear anyone complaining about that.
and they even showed the body of the dog.
Yeah,
Here, they like showed a puddle of blood. Even the body was missing.
that really is a new thing. I think people have gotten so cynical that they can't see animals killed, but they're fine with seeing people killed left and right. You know, like because I remember when Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 1 came out, that no one complained. Like those games were reviewed extremely highly. Like you literally snap dogs' necks and stab them in those games. Like you literally take the dog and twist its neck around. But then when the Modern Warfare remaster came out, everyone's complaining about killing dogs. Wait, what? This I don't know. And to like break Alita down just for something, as you said, that happens off screen. It's like, you know what? I'm going to take the entire film of Alita and I'm going to edit that part out and then edit in the OVA scene instead. So like it just switches to anime, bam, you see the dog rip in half and the guts go everywhere. And then we'll go back to the movie and then we'll see, are you happy now? Are you satisfied? Because it's so stupid to complain about that. I bet you this reviewer was snapping dogs' necks in 2009 in Modern Warfare and didn't complain about it.
Yep. I mean, there's no basis. There's no basis for it at all. Did anybody find those ones about Rose's mouth?
Yeah, in chat, Vladi said that he had screenshots of it.
Right.
Or that he only had screenshots.
It's behind paywalls. Yeah, he only has screenshots.
Or the article itself is, yeah.
Okay, so we may not be able to go there, but I'm presuming the upshot is that they basically were looking for anything to complain about this movie about. Much like Manola Dargis, our good friend.
I could probably take one more negative before I have to bounce it out with the positive again. I don't know. I can feel like the pressure response rising up a little bit, and you know the kettle's boiling, the whistle's blowing hot air, or starting to.
Well, I've had about enough of these idiots. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the reviews. So we are pretty close to our 2 hours, I think, since the stream started. Sorry, it started late, guys. We had a few late technicals, like Pooley's microphone. We haven't heard from Pooley at all, which is a bit disappointing. And we were actually expecting John to pop in, but he must be too busy in the yard, so he can't make it. Now, I don't think that the question actually went out this week. I have to poke Star a little bit harder to put the questions out. Oh, hang on, no, hang on. There's a Twitter link here. Is this the old one or the new one? Oh no, it did happen. I apologize, Star. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
John just finished as well.
Alrighty, let's roll this open. Oh, that's funny. Sorry, I'm just looking at the image that that Starvellian put in with this.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Actually, yeah. Let's have a. If you're going to finish up, let's have a laugh and go through that.
That's the way to go. Okay. And Vladdy has said, I will be honest, I hope this is the last troll review live stream we do. Fair enough. This was not anybody on the panel's recommendation for a topic. I'm not actually sure where it came from. And here's one from Angelis. It's true, though. Sometimes it's hard to keep quiet. What else have we got here? Spam the man says, I thought you were going to have a laugh at the troll reviews. Letterbox being the source of most trolls. Okay. If everyone is apprehensive about it, then we should move on to the next topic. Well, we got through anyway, so we'll get there. What else? Yep, that's another very similar one.
Was it 3 more replies to that one?
Was it? And there's a comment from Avon. And Flynn says there are people for whatever reason who just haven't had a brain and are negative to get attention. They do so by being ultra bad mood and desperately wanting to reveal it to the public. These people have never achieved anything on their own. The envy of. So yeah, I get that. That's partly what I was saying about, you know, people who have mental issues and see everything's negative. So it does happen. And there's envy, one of the 7 deadly sins. Okay, what do we got here? Mary Ann Johansson. She liked the movie, by the sounds of things. Devoid of personality and soul, this hellish Frankenstein monster of process entertainment product wallows in stews of borrowed ideas and imagery and does absolutely nothing fresh with them. All right. Wow. Somebody jumped on the front of that bandwagon and whipped the horses, didn't they? This is from Feb 13. I mean,
seems like they took a bitter pill that was out of date.
Yeah. It boggles my mind that you could call yourself a critic and slander a piece of work that took 20 years in the making and has a beloved fan base, and you know the amount of work that went into it, the amount of effort, all those people that are involved. You know, we've had, you know, a bunch of people that were involved in the production come on the stream, and not a negative word was said about making that movie. They all enjoyed it. Remember that? They all enjoyed making the movie. How could it end up like this? This is just like the other side of the coin.
Sorry, that's one aspect about the critics as well. When you mentioned about the people that made the movie actually enjoyed making it, they enjoyed the job, the work that they did, and so in essence, it wasn't even work for them. It was something that they loved doing. Whereas with the critics, like you mentioned earlier, it was like another job for them to do, and you know, they go into a movie with that mindset and attitude. So it got me thinking, you know, well, if that's the kind of job that you're doing, then, well, get another job. I don't know.
Okay, so I think we're probably done with that, because, you know, laboring this any longer is probably going to bring everybody down for their Saturday night. So I would like a moment to turn this around on you guys. So think about the Elite Army for a moment. Think about us guys. Think about what we've achieved. The over $17,000 we've raised for charity. The positivity that we pump out on Twitter, which is, you know, a negative basket case. The people that we've turned one after another to check out this movie because of the positive fan base it has. the advertising that we've done, the love and the soul that we've pumped into this fandom, the massive amount of care and love and honor that we've showered on this movie, the bringing in of the OVA, the love of the manga and the spreading of the interest in the manga, and the positive discussion that we've generated, obviously not this stream, but all the other ones, we've done that. And we've done that because this movie exists. And this movie exists because of the hard work that the people making it have put into it. The amount of positive that there is out of this thing far and away outweighs any negativity that can be sprouted by know-nothings. So I just wanted to put that into perspective. I wanted you to bring that back to say that everything we do towards a sequel, everything we do to promote Alita Battle Angel, the times we watch it, the way we discuss it, the positivity that we show on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else, that when we talk to our friends at work and at school and in other fandoms and bringing that all together, that is the positivity and the power of the Alita story. We pull all that together because of how good it is. And no bunch of monkeys that think they know what they're talking about and actually know nothing can ever take that away from us.
That would lead on to my final thoughts before I forget my train of thought. And that for me, there's a difference between taking a step back and standing your ground and still being pushed back, because there is a lot of hate out there, unfortunately. And I feel like there have been ups and downs inside and outside of the fandom. We won't go into that, but I mean, I think even recently we just taken step after step, and sometimes we could break out into a little bit of a jog, but mostly it's just one hard slog after another, like we're walking through mud. But we're still, I feel anyway, we're still moving forward. And yeah, and that just continuing on from what you were saying about, like even with Twitter, we're still getting new names that even I don't recognize, and I'm fairly new myself. About people saying, "Oh, I wish I saw it. How did I speak on this movie? How awesome it is!" And yeah, like I'm surprised at how far we've come just in the length of time that I've personally been in the fandom. And like I said, I haven't even been in the fandom as long as some. Well, looking at the panel, most of the guys on the panel, and I haven't even touched on the people that are in the chat as well. So yeah, that's my final thoughts.
Well, I want to add some final thoughts as well. So what I'm going to put it in the context of this. I have a video that was supposed to come out last week and was also supposed to come out this week, and maybe it's supposed to come out next week, but who knows?
Yeah, COVID.
Basically, it's about the history of the fandom. It goes into a little bit of the history of the fandom, not too much in detail, but it goes into that, and it goes into where we should go. And the reason why I think that is a very important subject is because I not only come from other fandoms that have had some huge falling outs after 30 years of being a shit posty fandom. I've seen where a lot of things go. I've seen a lot of the same players, by the way, that took place like that initiated the falling out in that fandom, trying to like sneak their way into this one and talking shit and doing that kind of stuff. I've seen some of the same people. It seems like they move fandom to fandom, start fires, and then leave. So that's the last thing I would like to see happen here. This fandom went through a lot, last year, and I had very, very strong opinions, and I let other people have their opinions. It's not like I said this is the only right way to go, but I've had a couple people come to me privately saying, I think you called this specific situation or that specific situation. So that's why I think it's important to make this video and basically saying, not as a directive, but with the future part, as a guide to how we should handle a lot of these things. The hit pieces, the trolling, the talking shit. And a big way to handle a lot of that stuff is to take it on the chin. Don't be so upset about it, because a lot of times being upset about these things, like these kind of negative reviews and articles, is the oxygen that they need. They thrive on attention. These hit pieces, and I'm spoiling my own video, but these hit pieces, they're not going to stop if we act like good people. They're not writing it because we're bad people. That's not why they're writing the hit pieces. The fandom doesn't suck. The movie doesn't suck. We've gone over this. There's no integrity in this. They're not writing these because the movie sucks. They're writing it because there's oxygen there are clicks there, and there's an agenda there. So no amount of action or inaction on our part is going to change that. But what we can do is we can take that and weaponize it, and basically, I don't know, just suck the oxygen away from them. You know what I mean? So. And going forward, I think that's an important thing to understand, because the gaslighting is real. The gaslighting I talked about last year is real, and we need to be able to recognize that and not let what happened to the Dragon Ball fandom and other fandoms happen here.
Just in between, and another positive note in between, Elalitas just in the chat said that John Lander has reacted to the video that Robert Rodriguez posted on Facebook, so he also reacted to that. So
yeah, he's a guy like that. Just trying to share it, but press the button. Yeah, so basically he's in the same ballpark as Jackie O'Haley and Robert Rodriguez, but he just says, "Love our fans, the Alita Army." So he's giving us some kudos, so that's nice. Good positive thing to end on. And there's the video playing. Okay, guys. So next week we're having a fairly general topic. It's general Alita talk, her history, her inspirations, who she inspired, and sequel possibilities. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. I might try and find a way to shorten that between now and then. But we're going to get your ideas out there and come and talk with us about our favorite girl, Alita. So we'll be focusing on the girl. That's what we'll be here for next week. So come and chat with us about that. You can come on the Alita Army live stream if you'd like to. Please, the details will be they're actually in the description of all the live streams. So just grab any one of those, click on the link, and it will take you to a Google Doc where you can sign up for a topic. And if you've got a topic of your own, please add it. We're always happy to take on topics from the fandom and bring those up for discussion. You can come on and talk about your own topic if you'd like to do that. It's pretty easy. Just remember that all the people who are on here right now at one point had never done it before and are a bit concerned about how it would go over. But yeah, we're all good with it. It's like chatting with good friends. I've made friends through this fandom that I really appreciate, and you can make them too. So come on and talk with us. Thanks this week for our guests for coming on. That's Angelus and Avon. Thank you for your input, guys. It was great.
No comment.
Yeah, sure.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us. You are what makes this fandom special. You are why we do this every week. We love you guys. And thank you so much for joining us at this time, and all the people who catch it on a repeat afterwards. Hi, repeat watchers. Okay, and as we like to do at the end of each stream, 3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye.
Blu-rays.
Baby.
Catch you next time. Bye for now.